dive right into it, Jamie, because we didn't have an opportunity to dive into this on Friday because the Falcons made this announcement late Friday, and that is that they decided to release Casey Hayward. Now, we didn't see much of Hayward last season, of course, Jamie, because due to that shoulder injury very early on in the season, he was sidelined after just 6 games, but it definitely gave me pause. I don't know about you, but it definitely gave me pause. And one of the questions I have for you is this. Do you think that there's any chance that we will see Hayward maybe re-signed by the Falcons for less money?
I think it's possible. If you look at the dead money cap, but also the savings that went along with actually cutting Hayward, I think the Falcons did themselves their due diligence as far as what the team is actually bringing to the table and what their needs may be going into this draft. They've done a lot so far. They picked up a couple of corners in general, Mike Hughes, and you're also talking about Jeff Okudah coming from Detroit, which was a great deal. Look,
Yeah.
Terry Fontenot has done his job. We don't know what everything will shape out to be because the players still have to play. But as far as acquiring talent and doing it for value, they've done well. But again, I don't think it was a bad move at all. Hayward being a Georgia guy, and what I mean is from the area, along with him just being really good starting out last year before the injury. You can see the possibility of him coming back. I think it's very possible.
Yeah, I would agree. I believe that he showed, like you said, glimpses in that first third of the season, and the moves that Terry Fontenot and his partner in crime, Arthur Smith, have made throughout this offseason have been nothing short of miraculous, especially because we saw exactly how hamstrung he was, or how hamstrung they were these last couple of off seasons, right? So to see some of these moves, and especially going once again and being able to do prove it deals, although with Casey Hayward, of course, it was a 2-year deal, but to be able to do a couple of these 1-year deals, and maybe guys who are also interested in being able to prove themselves, I think it puts the Falcons in good position if they choose to bring him back, especially because we now know that reportedly he failed the physical. So obviously that put the Falcons in the position to be able to release him, if you will. And we also know that there may be some other free agents that come up, right, at some point in time who may be just as, we'll call it, appealing as Casey Hayward, both from what they can do in the short term, but also what it maybe will not be a hit to the salary cap, if you will, or at least not the $5 million hit that Casey Hayward would have been should they have decided to hold on to him. But you know what else it got me to thinking? And I don't know necessarily that I'll tip my hand to you, as I was saying about the Falcons maybe tipping their hands to us, but some believe, and I would ask you this question, what your thoughts are on whether or not this tips your thoughts, or if you feel like the Falcons have tipped their hand on what they're going to do Thursday. Now, Jamie, it's interesting because when you look at some of the moves that the Falcons have made, obviously you gave one example. Jeff Okudah is a great example of them going out and getting themselves a right corner, and essentially that kind of made everybody look up and say, okay, well, that might tell you that Casey Hayward's days are numbered in Flowery Branch. But that Jeff Okudah signing, and now also the release of Casey Hayward, has us thinking, okay, does that further tip your hand, however, to what the Falcons may do at 8? Are they saying that there's somebody out there that we might be interested in at that 8 position who's like that true game changer? In other words, when we looked at the AJ Terrell draft, right, we saw somebody who could be an immediate game changer, and that he was. When you look at a Jeff Okudah, you really don't know, because even with him coming back off of his Achilles injury, he still wasn't quite the Jeff Okudah who was drafted at 3, right? So the question still becomes, yeah, you got him, but you released Casey. Is this maybe a tip of the hat to, because we are thinking that we might shore up the secondary in the draft at 8?
I think it provides a little more confusion, to be quite honest with you. I think what happens is the team had so many needs that depth is at a premium at this point. You can't have enough. And so right now, I think it is mass confusion as far as the people are concerned. I think the Falcons' brain trust knows what they want to do. I think they have different scenarios just ironed out for Thursday in general.
Yeah.
It could go corner. such as a Christian Gonzalez, having somebody across from AJ Terrell. It can go if that pass rusher happens to fall down to 8, which most people, possibly think there's some pieces that would be there. But it really just all depends on if they decide to stay at 8, move up, or what I'm thinking or I'm liking, move down. I think you have some depth pieces, and I think that based on value, especially when you hear the powers that be talk about picking up this player at this pick, if you can move down and have that pick be more valuable, I think you do yourself a service to maybe acquire more picks, especially if you find a team that's desperate enough to jump up to your position and give you a pick, another second rounder or third rounder for that 8th slot, especially if they see maybe a quarterback that they want that's not picked. And especially when you hear talks of like the likes of CJ Stroud moving down, all of a sudden he's not liked. It could be just smoke, but at the same time, I think the Falcons brain trust should do their due diligence just to see what's up. But I think it's just provided more confusion, or maybe more just convolution to what exactly they'll do.
I'll go with convolution because my words, my favorite phrase has been chess, not checkers. And I believe that the Falcons have been playing chess in a good way. That is all the compliment to them by making everyone look and say, well, wow, they have taken meetings with Anthony Richardson as an example. They've taken meetings with multiple quarterbacks who are expected to be gone off the board by no later than 6. And they've also said that Desmond Ridder is their QB1. So I do think that they're just a team that does their due diligence. They're a team that understands, and an organization that understands the importance of playing chess, not checkers. And yeah, I think that you could possibly say, are they opening up the floodgates at number 8 for, say, a Christian Gonzalez? But I've said all along that I probably would be most pleased and think, hey, this is an A decision, an A+ decision, an A- decision if they trade back, because I still believe they can get whomever they want, Jamie. I don't care if they want to shore up the trenches on the defensive side of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball, if they want to shore up the secondary, because we don't talk enough about that strong safety position and how, if you look at that depth chart, Jalen Hawkins is sitting on that depth chart by himself. And so you may be able to trade back and get yourself someone like a Brian Branch from Alabama, but you may still also be able to get yourself some additional assets. So I love what you're talking about like that. I can't wait. To me, it's like, this is exciting. This is Christmas in April. And Jamie, how long has it been since we've been like this excited? And I think we'll stay that way as long as we don't hear, with the 8th pick in the draft, the Falcons take wide receiver.
Exactly.
Tight end. I think we'll all be kind of good to go. But yeah, it definitely makes it intriguing and interesting